Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? Our guest today previously worked a corporate job before experiencing a life-changing event, thus leading them to finding their passion in guiding others to live their life with ease and balance. We have with us today Paul Wrightson from Brisbane, Queensland. It is a pleasure to have you with us, Paul. How are you doing?
Very well, Jake. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
You know that, Paul, you grew up mostly sort of northern, New South Wales and then up around Queensland. That's kind of been your home base for most of your life, right?
That's right, yeah. So came from a coastal town just north of Sydney, so Newcastle, so born and bred there. So big surfing, beach sort of nature culture there. So there was nothing better than, as a teenager learning to surf and getting down to the beach as much as I can.
Yeah, is that something that ties in, I guess, what makes you happy then, Paul? Is it that lifestyle around the beach and having that freedom to get on the board and stuff like that?
Yeah, good lead in there. So definitely nature's a big thing for me. So there's nothing better than kicking off the shoes, getting out in nature, feeling whether it's the sand or the grass or the dirt or whatever it is, and just finding that space where I feel grounded and at peace with myself. So definitely nature's a huge thing.
Were you always so grounded? Did surfing really help that, or was there a time in your life where you didn't feel connected to yourself and grounded, I guess?
I've always been pretty, I guess, patient and relaxed. A lot of my friends sort of talk about that. But in saying that, though, definitely the corporate world, or when I'm in a space of overwhelm or stress, so it's sort of it almost takes me away from that, how I actually ultimately want to feel. So, I do a lot of yoga and breathing and things like that to really bring that sort of connection back in. But if I'm, in that space, even if I just go out in the backyard, put my feet into the grass sort of thing, it definitely helps, bring that centeredness back, I guess, and to slow things down.
As someone, Paul, I guess, that teaches people to live life with ease and a bit more balance, how does that all tie into being happy?
I've got a part of what I do is live fully now. So for me, it's like living fully now is having that balance across all the different life areas. So not being too extreme in one and the others are lacking. So I mean, when one of them's thriving, usually the others will sort of follow. But it's trying to just bring that. I think there's obviously things out there like the wheel of life and whatever else. Just having that total balance in all the life areas. So when I'm sort of honing in on having that balance or working on parts that need to be risen up a bit, it just brings that, I guess, overall well-being and total happiness feeling in.
That's very interesting because coming from a personal training background and a profound interest in mindfulness, mental health and well-being, I definitely see that a lot of people focus too hard on, let's say, the physical aspect of their health, and they kind of use that to cover up the confidence or the self-esteem or some other issues that they may be trying to work through, and supplementing that with the gym. Where should someone start to identify the imbalance in their life?
Having total awareness is going to help with that, because it's easy to just keep going through the motions of life and staying busy, just to whatever's getting the person. But depends what they're after too. But if they're staying busy and they're not actually happy with staying busy, it's just having that awareness and mindfulness, like you mentioned before, and just slowing it down, having a good hard look at their day, what they're doing day to day, and then see if they can just simplify things down. One of the things that does make me happy is just bring everything back down to basics. Stripping away all the material stuff, the other things that sort of distract us from our true self, and just bringing that groundedness in, and then bringing everything back to stripping back to basics.
Beautiful, and I think that's the great call to action for the end of this episode. To our listeners, if you're watching or listening to this, ask yourself what your basics look like in life, what your absolute bare minimum is. Strip the phone away, strip the work away. What are your core values? What are you really sort of chasing? Just build a bit of awareness for yourself there and ask yourself that question. You might ask yourself that question 4 or 5 times throughout the week, but challenge yourself to really dig deeper until you understand yourself at a little bit more of a, I guess, clearer level. Like Paul, you've said there, Paul, it's been a great opportunity to chat with you, discuss all things that make you happy. I don't think we've had anyone who has discussed being grounded quite the way you have yet. So we really appreciate your insights and perspectives, mate.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, Jake. It's been a good chat.
Much appreciated, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Make sure to check out whatmakesyouhappypodcast.com to connect with today's guest and follow us on all our social media platforms and to stay up to date at what's happening next at What Makes You Happy. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend, and we'll see you next time.